Godzilla X Kong. What a time to be alive. We got a giant monkey. We got another giant monkey. We got a big old lizard.
We got another big old lizard.
One thing I really respect about this movie, Kong is the main character. He just straight up is the main character. Yeah. You understand what he's feeling, what his motivations are. They trusted audiences to be able to identify with Kong. So at number 1, new to the box office, Godzilla X Kong to the 10th power.
Go Godzilla.
It opened up to $80 million domestically and $193.9 million worldwide. $10 million in domestic previews.
Ooh.
The biggest ever for the Monsterverse.
Good job.
Second biggest domestic opening of 2024. What was number 1?
Dune 2.
There you go, Maggie. Dune 2 opened to $82 million domestically.
Wow.
But also, this is the biggest worldwide opening of 2024. So it actually made more money in its opening weekend worldwide. Mr. Worldwide, as one might put it. Mr. Worldwide.
Wow.
We went to watch this.
What a good time.
What a good time. What a good time, you know? I really enjoyed Godzilla 2014. I remember when they first released the trailer at Comic-Con, I was desperate to find it. Like, I was dying. I wanted to see it so bad. Like, I was scouring Twitter, looking for anybody that, you know, I looked on Vine just to see if anybody had posted it anywhere, you know? I found like a bootleg that was just awful, but I still watched it like 100 times. And then they finally released it. Yeah. And like that halo drop that they do, you know, and like you see, you know, Godzilla's tail and stuff. I'm like, oh my God, it's so good. Yeah. So good. So I love that movie. I was kind of, it wasn't like super down with like the fact that they killed off Bryan Cranston. I think he would have made a better main character, or at least even co-lead with Aaron Taylor Johnson. Yeah. So I mean, that was kind of a thing. I think the movie would have played better dramatically, you know, plot-wise, if it wasn't called Godzilla. Like if we didn't even know Godzilla was in the movie, because like the first act and a half, it's just about these Mutos, right? And like I feel like if they had just made like, oh, there's this almost like Cloverfield, like, oh, there's this new big giant monster movie, right? And you could even call it Monarch or whatever. And like Ken Watanabe's in it, Bryan Cranston's in it, and like, you know, everything plays the same. And then fucking Godzilla shows up and you're like, wait, is this secretly a Godzilla movie? Like, I feel like that would have kicked so much ass, right? But alas, that is not what happened. And so I really enjoyed that movie. But then they released Kong Skull Island, and I always forget just how good that one is. Like every time we rewatch it, I'm like, man, wow, this is actually fantastic.
Good story.
Oh yeah, like I feel like some of the deaths, like especially now that they've kind of fleshed out these characters in Monarch, Legacy of Monsters, I feel like the John Goodman character like is very abrupt and like unceremoniously, you know, killed off of the movie. Especially given like how important he is to the history of Monarch. But I mean, at the time, like it was really cool. And then that kind of gave us our first hint of, oh hey, this is a shared universe. And then we got my personal favorite movie in the Monsterverse, which is Godzilla King of the Monsters, which is just a fucking awesome time. Like I love King of the Monsters. I love Mothra, Ghidorah, Rodan. Like I love it so much that I learned those names, you know? I mean, I knew Mothra, obviously. Everybody knows Mothra. But God, it was so good. And like when they go down into the like the Hollow Earth and they see like Godzilla's big temple and, you know, the statue from The Exorcist is there and it's like, oh, Pazuzu is here. Shit. Pazuzu even knows Godzilla's the one. Pazuzu's pedals. And so like, you know, Ken Watanabe, like, you know, sacrifices himself. God, it's just so good, you know? And like Ghidorah, just fuck, God, terrifying. Love it. And everything just looks so good. Which I'm a kid that grew up on Power Rangers, right? So giant monster fights. Like that's my bread and butter. Like I love this shit. And then kind of all of that building to Godzilla versus Kong. And we watched that in 2021, I think is when it came out. And we watched it on Max because it was still in the height of the big C. And, you know, we had I think she was only like 7 or 8 months old. So like we was trying to take care of her, make sure we stayed safe and everything. And so we watched it at home, and I remember we were going into it being like pretty excited because I love this universe. I love the more serious take on them. Like it's not like Godzilla 98, like they're taking this seriously. And I remember watching it and being pretty let down with Godzilla versus Kong, because it was really played as a more popcorn, fun, monster action sci-fi movie, like a Transformers, like it was just played for that, I felt at the time. And like I remember being bummed because like I really loved like the deep lore that they did in 2014 and in King of the Monsters. Like I remember really just loving those takes on it. And for them to kind of abandon that and just make it all about, oh, they're fighting.
Yeah.
Like it was kind of a letdown. It was a little bit of a letdown. And so, I didn't even know if the MonsterVerse was coming back after that. I think they had assumed that would probably be the last one because the franchise had been steadily declining, ever since 2014. Yeah. And lo and behold, it actually did gangbusters. And so Legendary kind of, put the money back into the franchise. They did Monarch Legacy of Monsters, which was really freaking good. And then something else happened where we got Godzilla -1. Mm-hmm. Not connected to the MonsterVerse, obviously. This is just a Toho original Godzilla movie. Mm-hmm. And it gave me what I was dying for, a very serious, very dramatic, real life Godzilla movie, where Godzilla is just the most terrifying thing, right? And like it was so good. One of our like top 3 movies of the year last year. Mm-hmm. And having gotten that, I think that fulfilled my need of a deep story. And so we went back and rewatched Godzilla versus Kong over the weekend before we went and watched Godzilla X Kong. And I liked it a lot more. And I think it's because I knew what I was in for. It was going to be more of a fun movie, like less of a serious take. And like going at it from that angle, I had a blast. Like it was way more fun than I remember. And I feel like Monarch Legacy of Monsters on Apple TV kind of helped that. Like it gave me some more context of just like what the hell is going on with all this.
Yeah.
And like the Hollow Earth stuff, like it was all really jarring the first time. But like this time it was fun. It was really fun. And then we went on Saturday and watched Godzilla X Kong. And my God, it was amazing. It was so fun. It was so fun. And like one thing I really respect about this movie is 9 times out of 10, whenever there's a Godzilla or a King Kong or anything, like those are the primary thing in the movie, but there's a human character that grounds everything, right? And like we're, in 2014, we're seeing Aaron Taylor Johnson's story that just so happens to coincide with Godzilla. Mm-hmm. We're seeing a coach from Friday Night Lights that just so happens to coincide with Ghidorah versus Godzilla, right? We're seeing Loki that just so happens to coincide with Kong. Yeah. And so with this, Kong is the main character. Yeah. Like he just straight up is the main character. Yeah. And like, sure, Godzilla's in it. And he's, he is another character in the movie. Mm-hmm. But like the main person of the movie is Kong and Mini Kong. Mm-hmm. Which me and Maggie kind of jokingly said to each other that they're basically like the same relationship as the characters from the God of War 2018 game. And it's really great to look at it that way. And like there are some human characters, that exist in this movie and stuff, and they do help kind of keep the story going. But they do a really, really good job of letting Kong be the one that kind of guides the story. You understand what he's feeling, what his motivations are. And like he's not talking to us. He's not, it's not all like subtitled or anything. Like the closest thing I can think of is it's like Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, and like the way Caesar could very easily convey the emotions of what he was, feeling. And like, because if I may be mistaken, but I feel like the first 20 minutes of Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, like there's no humans. I feel like I could be totally wrong on that, but I feel like that was one of the big things is like they trusted audiences to be able to identify with Caesar, right? And I feel like this director did the same thing with Kong. Yeah. Like he believed audiences were down to, empathize with Kong, you know, with the monsters, right? And I really appreciated that because like most of the time they don't do that. Like the studios don't believe in these big monster characters to be able to handle it. You know, I mean even stuff like Bumblebee, you know, like you have to have the character that, you know, buys Bumblebee.
Yes.
And it's their car. Like we don't just watch Bumblebee, you know.
No.
And so I really loved this movie. Like I still don't think it's my number one. Like it's King of the Monsters is gonna be very tough to ever beat. And I feel like this one does have like some plot holes a little bit, like some kind of leaps of not of faith but of conclusions, I guess. Like, okay, like did they, I don't know if they had to do this, but like this is where we are, and like okay. And like some things, and I'll talk in spoilers, but like some things that happen, it's like so what are we saying about this universe now? Like what does this implication have? Or is it just a, oh well, yeah, you know, don't worry about it, you know, and like we just won't really deal with it again in the future. Like there's a few, like a handful of things like that, but honestly I loved the human characters. They were all super enjoyable. I never once felt like, okay, can we get back to the monsters, you know? I mean, even though I wanted to get back to the monsters, obviously, but like they weren't annoying, you know. By the time I was maybe starting to jones for the monsters were there. Like it never went so long that I was like, God, I just want to see Godzilla. I just want to see King Kong, you know? And there's not really any human antagonists in this movie.
No, thank God.
Yeah, like they don't try and figure out a way to like shove Apex into this.
I guess probably like within the first, me and him both were like, oh, that's a bad guy. That guy's the bad guy. He'll turn out to be the bad.
Yeah.
No, thank God.
Yeah, the Scar King is the main antagonist of the movie. And he's kind of one note.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's fine. I feel like in a movie like this, it's much more forgiving to have like, you know, the Scar King be kind of a generic bad guy.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's an animal, so it's animal instinct. So it still works, you know.
Yeah.
Whereas Kong does have that bit more of a humanity in him, but he's also been around humans. So I mean, I feel like that still makes sense. Like it makes sense why Kong would be the way he is and why Scar King is the way he is. One thing I love about this one is they make Godzilla into a cat. Like, not really, like, like they don't actually make Godzilla a cat, but like the way he does certain things, or she, I don't even know. The way Godzilla does certain things in this, like, just curls up. The way he lays down, he looks like a cat. Like he just looks like a cat.
But it's not
great.
A cat.
It's great. Like I love the idea of like Kong being like an old crotchety man, and Godzilla is just a cat that's like, sometimes he wants to be lovely, you know, and other times he's gonna fucking claw your eyes out, you know?
Yeah.
And like it is what it is. And you just gotta deal with it, you know?
Yeah.
Like, and that's what a cat does, you know?
Yeah.
Cats, they'll fuck you over.
Well, she's like, quit talking about cats.
Maggie, what'd you think about this?
I really enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun with it. I really liked how they handled like all the plots, like plot A, plot B, plot C. Like I never thought we was staying in one area too long.
Yeah.
It was very nice. And I like the fact that we got more, I feel like it, more monsters. Like seeing more stuff like Kong and I know Godzilla stuff was like short and stuff every now and then because, well, Godzilla's a lizard.
How dare you, first off? How dare you?
Him.
Godzilla is my favorite.
He's my favorite too.
Okay, I'm just saying. But like, that is one minor complaint. Not even a complaint, but like I do, like they always make Kong, because I guess it's just easier to get more emotions out of Kong. Like Kong's...
Well, he's small. Godzilla did a few times.
I know, but like, I want Godzilla to be like the lead.
Yeah.
You know? Like, and he's always just like the mindless destroyer, like in Godzilla versus Kong, right? Or like in this, it's like, oh, what's Godzilla doing?
He's absorbing.
And it's like, just, I don't know. Can Godzilla just be like the lead in one of these? Like, you know?
Like, I feel like, well, I feel like that's spoiler territory. I gotta shut
We'll
up.
save it.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, the closest we've got is King of the Monsters. And like, it did really good. And I thought they did a good job with that, especially him and Ken Watanabe together. But, you know, like with these crossover movies, I just feel like they default to making Kong the person that you identify with. And, like, I get it because it's easier to get emotions out of that as opposed to a big giant fucking, you know, dinosaur, right? Like, I get it.
I love him.
But I do too, and I think you could do it. Like, I mean, why not try? You know, let's just try one of these. You know? It's like when you have Batman and Superman together, like, you just make Batman the main character because, like, it's just easier.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, but I like Superman though, you know. Anyway,
I'm sorry.
No, I mean it's fine. I'm not upset. It's a good movie. Yeah. Anything else you want to say before we get into spoilers? Okay. Well, before we do get into spoilers, I do have one last thing. Sorry, I yelled for a second. We picked up.
I was like, was it on me?
The popcorn bucket, everybody. So
it's actually a 2-in-1.
That's right. So you can take them apart like this. And like split it. So like if Maggie wanted to have her own bucket, we could just share it like that. But they do combine with our powers combined.
Good luck.
Well, I'll do it here in a second. So on one side it's Godzilla, as you can see. And it has this nice 3D printed texture on it. And on the back it has these like
faces of
like different, well, I believe it's different monsters, I want to say.
I thought it was all Godzilla because all of them's Kong.
Well, like that doesn't really look like Godzilla. Oh. But I don't know. I think it might be. I think it's Shimu and Godzilla, and Scar King and Kong on Kongs. So then, of course, you got the Kong. You know, again, 3D textured, printed on here. You can kind of see the thick lines, and on the back, you've got the symbols, kind of like the drawings of Kong and Scar King. It's pretty cool. And then, like I said, you can just kind of put them back together.
So this spring we've had the Frozen Empire and the New Empire.
Yeah, I really don't like that they overused the Empire. And I kept getting Frozen Empire mixed up with Planet of the Apes, which is it Planet of the Apes Fallen Kingdom? So I kept wanting to say Frozen Kingdom, but it's Frozen Empire. So anyway. But then aside from that, we also got the mug, the little cup. So they had 4 of these, one for each of the big titans that's heavily featured. I'm pretty
certain I watched a guy get all 4 of them.
I get that. And like when we go this weekend, if they have these cups still, like we'll get probably the Kong.
Yeah.
And then if they still have it.
If they still have it after that, I want Shimu.
I mean, we can get both. We can get Kong and Shimu. I do like Shimu. But this mug comes with just it's Godzilla. We got the Godzilla mug, and it's pink on the inside to match Godzilla's
the monarch
new
symbol.
Yeah, and it's pink on the inside to match Godzilla's new pink power set, which is just fantastic.
My favorite color.
I love that Godzilla is just essentially a Super Saiyan. You know, and like in order to power up, he has to get a new color. You know, like I love that. And then it also comes with the topper, which is this nice little Godzilla action figure. I mean, it doesn't really do anything. It's more of like a model or whatever. But beautiful. Yeah, no, it's really good. Super heavy. I love this mug a lot. Mm-hmm. So I'm with you. I do want to get Shimu because Shimu's awesome.
We'll get more into that.
Yeah, as far as like the new monsters go in this, Kong gets the most. And then Godzilla, I would say, was probably like second or third as far as like the most screen time. With Mini Kong, and then you've got the Scar King and you've got Shimu, and then there are some others that are in it, but like that's the main ones. And Shimu is a very interesting one, and like as the movie goes on, the more you find out, like it becomes more and more likable, I guess is the way to put it.
Yeah.
Just a more interesting character than what we've seen. So it's really cool. As far as like who I would recommend this to, I would say if you've watched a MonsterVerse movie and you just didn't like it, I don't think this movie would really do anything for you to change that. Like if you watched King of the Monsters and was like, I don't care, then I probably wouldn't recommend this. If you've not watched any and you enjoyed stuff like Jurassic Park or Transformers or like, if these big giant things, that are very much not realistic, if that doesn't bother you, then I would recommend going to watch it. I mean, it's a fun popcorn movie.
Oh yeah.
Like it feels like a summer blockbuster. That being said, if you haven't watched anything this year, go watch Dune 2 first.
Yeah.
Dune Part 2 is definitely the better of the two films.
Get to $1 billion, baby.
Yeah, seriously. I need Dune Messiah like yesterday. So I would definitely I would recommend watching this. And we'll break down like where we'd actually place it as far as the full spring 2024 ranking here in just a little bit, like how it stacks against Ghostbusters and stuff like that. But yeah, I would say if you liked the MonsterVerse, didn't really care for Godzilla versus Kong, I think try and give this one another chance, because to me it's a lot better than that one. Even though I ended up growing to like Godzilla vs. Kong, I feel like this one's still just better. Mm-hmm. And I would say it's in the top half for me of the MonsterVerse.
Same here.
Like, it's really, really good. It's really strong. Like, Monarch is really good, but I feel like if it could have been a little bit shorter, it would have been stronger. Like, there was a few episodes that just kind of drug a little bit.
Agreed.
But I feel like this is one of the better ones. Not because it's as deep, as like King of the Monsters or 2014, but just it knows what it is and it plays to that, and it does that super well.
Yes.
So, anything else you want to say before we get into spoilers?
No.
All right, everybody, let's get into spoilers. I can't believe Godzilla was dead the whole time.
That'd be awful.
R.I.P. King of the Monsters.
They called him he multiple times. I tried to pay attention to that because...
Well, Godzilla will always be a queen in my book.
Okay.
When it comes to Godzilla 98. No, there is only one queen of the monsters, and that's Mothra. And my God, can I just say how thankful I am that the marketing team was like, you know what? Let's not ruin all of the surprises in this movie in the marketing. Like, there's one shot specifically. If you don't care, can you go back? Mm-hmm. So we're still in spoilers, everybody. But in this shot here...
Oh, whoops.
You're fine. In this shot here, Mothra is in this.
Yeah.
Like, she is in this shot in the movie. And they removed her from the marketing. Yeah. And that makes me so happy, because so many people don't do that now. They're just like, here's fucking everything that happens,
Yeah.
And like, that was such a fun reveal. Like, I mean, I was hopeful that Mothra would return.
Yeah.
Like, I figured at some point she would return. And especially when, like, we got to see the Iwi people, and like, there was that kind of like netting around them. I thought that was Mothra's cocoon.
I did too.
Yeah. Like, I didn't think it was just a wall, like, keeping the Iwi people away from Scar King or whatever. And so, like, when that ultimately did leave to Mothra, like, I was like, oh, okay, cool. But, like, Mothra playing the part of being the thing that makes Godzilla and Kong, like, cool with each other. Well, I like that.
I think Mothra's like, hey, Kong, I could get Godzilla to calm down.
I love that Godzilla, like, doesn't fuck with Mothra, he's like, okay.
He shut up immediately.
He's like, okay, girl. Hey, bitch. I always love you, bitch.
Yeah.
But I love that. And again, they kind of did the thing that they did in in Godzilla versus Kong, where like, oh, Godzilla's making some crazy decisions. Is he gone bad again? Like, oh, God.
And then there was like people that actually understood him. They're like, he's going to this place for a reason.
Yeah. And then he gets all juiced up on the juice.
Yeah. And they're like, oh crap, he's actually absorbing the radiation from this nuclear plant. And they're like, oh, he's heading towards the south. Why is he going down there? Oh, because there's a Titan down there. Yeah. And that's how he gets pink.
Yeah. Which was really cool.
He like had a mini hibernation period too after that.
Yeah, like I feel like one of the main reasons this is just my observation, I could be wrong, but one of the main reasons I feel like he's pink in this is because they knew they wanted to do Shimu, and I mean, one, obviously toys, like just Godzilla looks different, so you got to buy it, but also Shimu's powers are ice, and so they would want him to be blue and white, And so I feel like you have to differentiate the colors somehow. Yeah. I mean, like, Kong is black, whereas Scar King is like a reddish, like orangutan. Yeah. And, Godzilla's kind of gray and pink in this one. And Shimu is like a white and blue.
Iridescent.
Yeah. And, like, I didn't really know how I felt about Shimu at first, because he was played very much as just...
Another Godzilla.
Yeah, and kind of like just an empty monster. Like most of the Titans have some sort of thought.
Yeah.
You know, like whether they're good or bad. Like even the Mutos were like trying to mate.
Yeah.
You know, and like Ghidorah was, you know, trying to be the king of the jungle, right?
Yeah.
And so like Shimu just felt like a drug lord's tiger, you know?
Yeah.
Like it was just this thing on a leash. It was like its guard dog, you know? And like that felt off to me a little bit. Like I was like Titans don't really do that. Like, you know, I mean they can obviously. And they made it make sense because like Scar King has the whatever, the crystal that can like cause him to control Shimu or whatever. And I like that it was more just, it wasn't like legitimately controlling him. It was more like, this hurts, so I'm gonna do.
Yeah,
it's almost like a dog whistle.
Yeah,
you know. And I liked that they did that as opposed to like he's telepathically telling him what to do or whatever.
Yeah.
But then of course when they break that and Shimu turns and like starts fucking up Scar King, like that shit was great when it was like the three of them.
Yeah, and you feel bad for Shimu.
Yeah,
and like it's I don't know. I think it was the Iwi tribe or something.
Yeah.
Another somebody said he's hurting.
Yeah,
that
it might have been the girl.
Yeah,
It might have been the girl
I think you're right
because she could like feel.
Yeah, she's like she's in pain.
Yeah. And I love when Kong is like riding Shimu at the end, you know?
Yes.
He's like, it's his donkey, you know? This is his horse.
Hey, everybody, this is
like
these
he
are
even
my
like
BFFs.
he even like pets her, you know? It's so great. Like I love that. I love that.
It's sweet.
I love the idea that like Kong is just Clint Eastwood in this.
Yes.
You know? And like
I like how they kind of gave him a beard.
Yes, very much. Like I mean, it's straight up God of War. It's just the characters from God of War 2018. That's who Kong and Mini Kong are.
Mini Kong, how he so many times tries to trick.
It just Bart Simpsons it up.
Yeah, tricks Kong, but it's because I think part of him, he's scared.
Yeah.
Also, too, if he brings in another ape,
yeah,
he could probably die.
Yeah, and like he's never known anything but you know, being hurt.
Yeah, so
you know,
like
being beat the shit out of, you know?
Which I mean, Kong pretty much did it the first time around. He picked him up and swung him around.
Dude,
that was so funny.
When he beats the shit out of those other guys,
gonna kill him.
Oh my god, that was so funny. Holy shit.
I like when he took him to the lake and he is like, you know, getting a drink. He starts to run away. And Kong throws that head.
Oh yeah,
that lizard thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good, man. No, I loved all that, honestly. And even like Kong like climbing up to get his tooth worked on and stuff. Like I liked that.
Yes.
I liked that relationship.
I like Trapper.
So I kind of
character.
Yes, Trapper was awesome. I kind of alluded to this in the non-spoiler section, so just to kind of bring that back around. About, you know, how does this affect the universe going forward? So like, does magic exist? Like, I mean, like I know like it's Titans.
I'm not getting into this with you.
Like, I mean, I know there's Titans, obviously there's monsters and like it's science and stuff. Like it's very science based, right?
Yes.
Like they're not saying like, oh, they came from a portal from hell. You know, like it's just they're, you know, it's just the center of the earth.
Yeah.
And like I get that. And I get the idea of like the Iwi tribe being able to communicate with one another because maybe they grew up around these crystals and like they evolved a different whatever. But like when the little girl, well, she's not a little girl anymore. When the young girl like puts her hand up and just Mothra's essence comes back to life, you know, like I mean I was thinking like maybe it'll be like Mothra's like larva stage and like, you know, she like touches it and then like her energy like, you know, brings it to life, kind of like what happens with the wall, right? But no, like Mothra just reappears out of nothing, you know? And like I don't think there's any other way to explain that than magic. And like we've just not had that in this universe yet.
Yeah.
And I'm just kind of surprised that now we have magic, you know? Like I'm just surprised that that's where we are. And like especially with how much, even in King of the Monsters, they explained, you know, the life cycle of Mothra, you know, like that it's it starts as a larva and becomes, comes out and it's like a caterpillar, and then it cocoons and becomes Mothra, right? Like, and to just be like, to just skip all of that just to bring like the life essence back in magic. Like, it's just, I don't know.
I blame it on the crystals.
I mean, yeah. I don't know. It just felt, that's the only thing that felt just kind of off to me. It was just, oh, okay. So we have magic now. Like, I felt like that guy in The Prestige when like Hugh Jackman's showing him the disappearing, reappearing man, and he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry. It's been a long time since I've seen real magic." And like there's like a scaredness in him, because like he thinks that Hugh Jackman has literally used dark magic to teleport across the room, right? And like, which it ends up being way worse than that. He's actually drowning his original self while his clones keep living on. But that's a whole other thing.
Oh God, I completely forgot about that.
What a fucking great movie. Oh my God, so good. And like, that's how I felt. I was like, oh, I'm sorry. It's been a while since I've dealt with magic, and I was not prepared for dealing with that today in this. I'm going to need just a moment here to just kind of collect myself and get back into this. Okay, continue. Like, that's how I felt in the movie. All right. And like, I'm glad Mothra's back. I'm glad Godzilla and Kong are like, peace out,
Yeah.
I'm really, at this point, I don't know what you do with the next one. Like, I mean, because they're cool with each other.
Yeah.
So like, do they just keep teaming up to take on something? Or does
Godzilla get fed up and like, I'm gonna kill you?
I almost think that, to me, the only place you go with this, baby Godzilla, exactly, 100%, it's Doug. You get Doofy Doug back in there, and it's like, oh shit, you're Doug? Where have you been, man? I left you. I had to go get cigarettes. I came back and you were gone, Daddy. I'm Doug.
Oh my God.
But no, like, I feel like that's got to be, or a female.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. I think at this point we got to kind of match the storytelling of Kung Fu Panda.
Yeah, but what's funny? Whenever you do meet the female Kung Fu Panda.
Yeah.
Mei Mei.
Yeah.
She is.
Well, I meant the female bad guy.
Oh, female bad. Oh,
like how we've
yeah.
How like the bad guys changed. Like, one was basically trying to be like Poe,
Yeah.
And then I don't know what the rest of them are, but
one wanted to take over all of China.
Yeah.
The other wanted.
I don't really know what you do. I don't think you pit them against each other. And like, I feel like it's a waste of time to like come up with a reason for them to be cool with each other. I think we've established they're cool with each other.
Yeah, I think either it's going to come down to them exploring more of that hollow Earth.
The hollower Earth?
Yeah.
That's what I call it. The hollower Earth.
More hollow.
Hollower Earth.
Holler.
The holler.
It's the holler.
The holler Earth.
Yes.
Yeah.
The holler Earth. I think they explored that more because of the other apes and stuff. They could study Kong being with them and stuff. And I don't know, maybe there's something else down there, or there's something good down there. I don't know.
I could see like an evil Mothra. I'm trying to think of what do you do?
Yeah.
And like, only thing I can think of is there's a couple of routes they could go. I think one, you just get another bad guy and just do it again.
Yeah.
I think you could make it more based in the Hollow Earth, and so Godzilla has to go to the Hollow Earth, and like, he's mainly down there the whole time, as opposed to
being up on the surface,
and Kong having to bring everybody up there.
Yeah.
Or you could do I mean, one of the plot lines they've kind of alluded to a lot is the war between the Godzillas and the Kongs. And so like, you could, like, we brought back the Kongs, could bring back the Godzillas, and like, Godzilla and Kong are on like opposite sides. Like, they're cool with each other, but like, their families are fuck, they hate each other.
Yeah.
And so like, they're ready to go to war.
Yeah.
Like, I could see that maybe, but like, I don't know. It'll probably be nothing like that. Like, this director's really good, and like, he's apparently already has an idea for a third one. So I'd say whatever they end up doing will be great.
Oh yeah.
I say maybe it's time to start jumping dimensions. Maybe we bring in Godzilla -1 Godzilla into this.
Shin Godzilla.
Can you imagine if, like, one of the more serious Godzillas showed up and was like, the fuck are you doing with this fucking monkey? Get the fuck out of here.
Give him the kiss of death.
Fucking rip his head off. And what? You hanging out with these humans? Fucking eat that shit. What the fuck's wrong with you?
Buildings?
I'm sorry, Daddy. God, Doug.
Of course you're destroying all the buildings. Good on you, but you're not eating anything else?
God, what do you think? Wait, you got you laying in the Roman Colosseum like your goddamn cat? You've been domesticated, man. God, you are God fucking Zilla. Act like it. King Kong ain't got shit on you. That's a Training Day reference.
I know that. He was on a roll and I did a
I appreciate that.
The other Godzillas, they're like, you had King Crab or King Spider Crab, and you didn't boil up them crab legs and cook them.
Good job, Maggie.
Sorry.
That's good.
No, it wasn't.
No, I mean, I'm proud of you.
I'm going away.
You tried really hard.
I know.
And I appreciate it.
You hate me.
Shrimp fried crab. Maggie, anything else you want to say in spoilers before we get to the next part?
He should have boiled them crab.
God damn it.